we should make a flat tax. And what that basically is that everybody, no matter what class you belong to, is that you're gonna pay the same taxes. Middle class, they pay 25%, I think it is, and the rich pay 14%. And I think we should just meet down the middle and pay 20% for flat tax. And also we should invest in education, because that will make teachers productive members of society and make more money. And to get all that extra to invest in education, I think we should cut some programs, or at least reduce some, like welfare, EBT, because that's really hurting our economy right now. Because welfare, it's encouraging recipients to not seek work, and if you don't seek work, you're killing the economy. And
I disagree on that.
How?
Because, sorry to interrupt, by the way. It's not necessarily them just sitting there at home to act for free money. It's people that actually can't for many reasons can't.
Well, I understand that, but the thing is that if you look around and see the people on welfare, many can get a second job, but they choose not to.
How do you know they choose not to?
Because then if they get a second job, they won't qualify for welfare.
Yeah, but they can't get jobs because there's no jobs right now available. The whole population.
And that's what I'm saying. There is no jobs because that's why I want to make jobs, because if you invest in education, I'm gonna make more jobs, which will make less welfare, because I'm gonna make more teachers, more productive members of society, more people going to college, and so on and so forth.
You have to state the fact there's middle class people and there's so many undocumented people. So you can't just quit welfare. Oh.
No, I'm not. I don't want to quit welfare. I just want to reduce it so people don't so people don't get lazy and not try and better themselves.
You're calling the lower class lazy? I mean,
I'm not calling it all the lower class lazy.
All right, let him finish. Finish your thought.
I'm not calling all the lower class lazy. I'm just saying it discourages you from bettering yourself.
I understand that. And granted, there are those who use welfare way more than they should. But to cut it down for those who are doing it appropriately, does that really seem fair? How are we?
The economy's hurting, dude.
The economy's hurting. Think about
The economy's hurting. We need to make more jobs.
Let me reiterate something you said earlier. How much did you say the rich pay for taxes?
14%.
14%. How are you planning to deal with the upset when you raise the taxes on them?
Well, they're just gonna have to pay the taxes. How does the middle class deal with it when they get upset? They have to tough it out and pay it.
So you're willing to take up that upset, whether or not they like it?
Yes. Do you think it's fair that the rich pay less than the middle class?
I don't think it's fair. I'm just saying you know you're gonna have to deal with a lot of fallout with that.
Well, as president, I plan to deal with a lot of things, and I'm studying
All right, Mr. Caramella, go ahead.
All right, thanks. All right. Well, I'm with Kevin too. I think that we should just like lower the welfare. Welfare, yeah, whatever. System, on the poor, because from personal experience, I mean, my mother, she lives back in New York, and she's broken and broke. I mean, like, she's on welfare, food stamps, all that. So she'd hate that I'm saying this right now, but I mean, she knows that she's screwed up in life, and growing up in New York, I mean, everybody who's poor, they want to be poor. Like they didn't grow up like wanting to succeed. My mother never went to college. She dropped out of high school, all that. So I know that if you're poor, you want to be poor. I mean, trust me. I mean, go down to the Marcy Projects about that.
If you don't have any experience, you haven't applied for any job, how can you know being poor is where you really want to be? You can't just.
Well, then you gotta
you
apply
can't
for
say
a job.
that the poor wants to be poor. I mean, there's some people that
Hold on,
are
let
put
her
into that
finish.
situation. Like me, myself, like my family has gone through a very difficult time, and that whole thing where you said where you lower welfare, my family was on welfare for a while, but we had to. I mean, my mom had 5 children, and she hasn't had the best life. She didn't go to college, and she works horrible jobs, but she does what she has to get food on the table and to pay the bills. Also, you said something about lowering the whole welfare. I mean,
Keep
you're
going.
already.
I'm listening, go.
You lower the welfare and then you want to go ahead and even out the taxes for everyone. I'm straight for evening out the taxes for the higher class and the middle class, because the higher class, they do pay less, But for the lower class, they're already struggling. Why are you gonna go ahead and put America through that? You're just gonna create less actual jobs because people, either they can or they can't, and they're gonna find a way. But you can't just take away welfare when people actually do need it.
I'm not trying to take out welfare, but the thing is, do you think it's fair that McDonald's and Burger King accept EBT? Do you think that's fair?
Just make your statement, and then we'll go. You don't have to ask. You make your statement. They'll make theirs.
There's some welfare recipients that get cell phones and they get help on their car payment. And I don't think that's right. I think you should be able to get help on rent and food so you can survive. But you have to better yourself. You can't just stay in that system. You have to at least try to get out of poverty.
As far as spoiled.
Let me finish. Hey, now you guys gotta tell me how you feel. You can argue with him, but right now we've got a company. We know how he feels and how to fix it. How can we say that about everybody here? How will you fix it in this country? He's addressed it. He's addressed how to fix it. He mentioned low and welfare and what he did. We need some of you to give us your ideas.
If I'm elected president, then I will have the taxes equal for the middle class and the higher class, and have a bit of liability for the lower class because they're already going through a difficult time. You can't just expect them to just bounce back into the game. You can't just expect them to go ahead and just get a job out of nowhere and hope that everything will turn out okay, because back to reality, you never know when you're going to lose your job, sadly. But we need to help entrepreneurs with taxes, and we have to bring America jobs. We have to tax more on the companies that have jobs overseas, so then they could actually want to come back and we can put America back to work.
Okay. Candidates, let's see, Cruz, how would you address it? How would you fix our economy? How would you help Americans get jobs? I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Knight, please.
I just have paying a living wage which reflects the real value of work, support a living wage, and faith-based initiatives and charitable choice programs, negative income tax to keep all adults above poverty line, and work fair as a slave labor, forcing welfare recipients to accept jobs that pay wages below liable income, drive wages down, and exploits workers for private profit at public expenses. And as president, I reject the work fair as a form of slavery.
Okay. This is candidate Lewis. How would you deal with the unemployment in our country?
Unemployment
Or the economy?
well, to come back to what Kevin was saying about welfare, for what we could improve welfare, like reform the system, so that the people that are on welfare are people that actually need it, and they don't take advantage of the system.
That's true, because a lot of people would abuse it in any way. That's not to say that there are people who need it. There are, but the vast majority of people who are on welfare, they're just doing it because they're lazy.
Also, I need to reform the system and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do and they find the right job.
But how are you going to do that? How are you going to separate the people who really need it and the people who are abusing it?
It's pretty hard to track down all those people on welfare.
We need to have guidelines so then we could close
Okay.
loopholes.
Perfect. Guidelines. You say it important. Candidate Camacho, how would you fix our economy, bring jobs to this country if you become president?
Our economy is recovering, but to an extent. That's not to say that we're like we're okay now. What we need to, everyone's going to say is that, like we should focus on ourselves. We can't help other countries. That's not true, because Europe's economy is as worse than ours is. So if theirs is worse, then ours is going to be even worse, and we're just going to go back into a recession that we were 4 years ago. So we have to help one.